Bună seara și bine ați venit la o nouă ediție a emisiunii Hard Talks. În seara aceasta este o ediție specială pentru că vom vorbi, este o zi specială, este o zi foarte importantă, este o zi importantă pentru America, dar este la fel de importantă pentru Europa și foarte multe din țările din învecinate. Lucrurile se întâmplă în timpul, trăim istorie. Din punctul meu de vedere, observăm din ce în ce mai multe probleme apărute datorită politicilor practicate de guvernanții noștri. În marea lor majoritate, mai ales guvernanții europeni, mă vorbesc de guvernanții europeni, politici progresive, neoliberal și a zice eu chiar socialiste. Vedem pachete de legi care sunt votate, trecute prin ambele camere, Camera Deputaților, prin Senat, legi care se vor publica în monitor oficial imediat după alegeri. Aceste legi sunt făcute în detrimentul poporului român. Legi pe care marea majoritatea oamenilor nu sunt de acord cu ele. N-am să vi le amintesc pe fiecare în parte, dar sunt foarte multe. Însă, având în vedere situația din America, unde este o luptă foarte grea dintre două partide, Partidul Republican, Partidul Democrat. Partidul Republican condus de Donald Trump și Partidul Democrat condus de Kamala Harris. Chiar în timp ce vorbim, alegerile sunt în continuă desfășurare. Invitatul meu din această seară este bine cunoscutul Douglas Anderson, este un antreprenor, un investitor care are mai multe fonduri de investiții și a investit în mai multe țări emergente din Europa și din lume și astăzi o să vorbim mai ales despre posibila victorie a domnului Donald Trump sau posibila victoria Kamala Harris. Mr. Douglas Anderson, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great to be here.
Mr. Douglas Anderson, today is a very big day for you, your country, for your people, but also for us, for Europeans, and I think for the rest of the world. Today, 4 years ago, Donald Trump said before the election, he says, if he loses the election, America will have a lot of problems. We've seen in these 4 years, we've seen a decline of economy. We've seen migrants by millions. We've seen these leftists getting crazy. Was he right when he said that if he loses the election, it's going to be a lot of problems for America? Was he right then?
Well, I think you can see in terms of inflation, the economy, you can kind of see what's happened with the policies that we currently have. And Kamala Harris has not distanced herself from those policies. In fact, I mean, when you ask what's the difference between her and Biden, she basically says she's a woman. That's about it. And so you can expect more of the same with that administration, and especially with the debt the country's accumulating. I don't think that's sustainable in any way.
Well, a quick remark here. Except debts to China, the Federal Reserve, they print money. Why debts when you can print money anyway? You can print money as much as you want. Why do you have to borrow people from other countries?
Yeah, well, printing money is not free.
Isn't it?
No, and so money supply is a key factor in inflation. And
the more money on the market.
There's two factors. One is spending, the other is printing money, and so they're doing a lot of both.
I'm gonna translate to our Romanian viewer. L-am întrebat pe domnul Douglas Anderson. Acum 4 ani de zile înaintea alegerilor, Donald Trump a declarat că dacă el va pierde alegerile, America va fi într-o situație foarte dificilă. Situația, și aici mă refer chiar la migrația masivă care a acoperit America, mă refer la declinul economiei, lucruri pe care le vedem cu toții, mă refer la faptul că partidele astea de stânga parcă au nebunit într-un fel sau altul cu ideologiile pe care încearcă să le promulge, iar domnul Douglas mi-a răspuns așa, că într-adevăr aceste lucruri s-au întâmplat, aceste lucruri, Donald Trump într-un fel sau altul a fost corect, el nu poate și n-a văzut de-a lungul acestor 3-4 ani de zi o politică coerentă dusă de Kamala Harris și de Joe Biden. Am mai spus în același timp că datoriile lor au crescut foarte mari, datorii Americii. Eu i-am spus că de ce, că nu înțeleg de ce ei împrumută bani la chinezi când ei printează foarte mulți bani acolo și nu îi costă mai deloc să printeze, că ei asta au făcut toată din anii 40-50, au printat foarte mulți bani și ei cu hârtiile care veneau din America mergeau în Suedia, importau tehnologie sau în Japonia sau în țări de unde cumpărau resurse, dădeau hârtii și cumpărau petrol, gaze, energie. O să mă întorc la dânsul. I'm gonna go back to you because when I say to you that why you have to borrow from the Chinese, your country, I said the way I see it, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, it's just the way I see it, is from 1945, you've been printing money. You, with your dollars, you bought a lot of technology for Sweden. From Japan, you bought petrol and gas with your money, the money you printed. So the way I see it, yeah, you give them papers, dollars called papers, which at the end of the day is papers, and they give you oil back. And I remember 1972, I'm not sure, I think it's 72, when Nixon come up and he says he wants to end the speculation. So what he does, he said from now on, we will not have covered the dollar with gold. That was in 1972, I think, or 71.
Yeah, 72.
72. And since then, anyone was free to print as much money as they want. We do the same in Europe. We print money, we print papers, and we call them euro, we call them dollars, we call them pounds. So my question to you is, why would you borrow so much money from the Chinese?
So, well, it ties the countries together. That's for sure.
Oh, okay.
And so we have leverage over them. They have leverage over us, and it makes us work things out, which is good for everybody. It's good for everybody. Trump's argument is they pushed it too far, and they have advantaged themselves too much and taken advantage of us. And so he wants to balance the scales a little bit, and a little bit goes a long way.
But was he right in a way? Because when COVID came, then you realize the aspirin, you have to get it from China. Then you realize you don't build anything there. So that was the moment when Donald Trump decided actually to change and brought all these companies back to the US, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at a lot of the climate change agenda, you'll find that a lot of that is promoted by China. China is the money behind a lot of that climate change stuff. And so what do? They make electric cars because they don't have gas and oil, and they want to propagandize saying gasoline, diesel cars are bad, so stop driving those and drive electric cars. And oh, by the way, we just happen to be the ones that manufacture that stuff.
Yeah, what coincidence.
And they're the ones that have the rare earths that you need for the batteries and the panels and all of that stuff.
Yeah. Let me translate because it's a good point there, you know. L-am întrebat pe Douglas Anderson de ce trebuie să împrumute bani din China. Mi-a spus că este beneficial, a fost beneficial pentru ambele părți, și pentru China și pentru America. Însă dânsul spune că în spatele acestei agenda verde, în care suntem Green Deal, adică totul încercăm acum să eliminăm tot ce înseamnă toxicitate, tot ce înseamnă lucruri negative, petrolul din punctul lor de vedere, toate aceste lucruri sunt împinse de fapt de China. China este în spatele acestui Green Deal, China, și pentru că ei din punctul lor de vedere, din punctul domnului Douglas, beneficiază cel mai mult de aceste lucruri, pentru că faptul că chinezii produc absolut tot, mașini electrice, baterii, este spre beneficiul lor acest Green Deal. That was very interesting point. But now let's go back to the election, because election in your country is very important, and a lot of our viewers from Europe, they don't understand why you have this scheme, this system of election where some states, they have to vote in advance. And the way what I know is because like back in the days when you done this system, it was because of let's say America is a huge continent, and it was very difficult for them to vote in the same time. So what they did, yeah, they start, let's say, west side, California. They start in like a month, 3-4 weeks in advance. The electors, they collect the votes, and they went to New York, Washington, where they count everything. My question to you is, why they maintain this system now? And is there anyone who's taking advantage of? Is anyone who's benefiting most of this?
Yeah, I mean, today it's unbelievable and absolutely absurd, but it's against the law to show your identification in the state of California when you're voting. It's literally against the law.
Hold on, I have to translate. This is very important. L-am întrebat pe domnul Douglas de ce menține acest sistem de votare în care sunt unele state votează înainte altor state. Am spus că știu că din antichitate, de când și-a inventat ei Constituția, au pornit pe faptul, America fiind un continent foarte mare, a trebuit să voteze o parte a Americii mai devreme, cu câteva săptămâni, ca atunci călăreții cu cai se duceau, nu existau trenuri, tramvai, probabil în perioada aia, se duceau cu voturile la Washington să le numere. Și domnul Douglas mi-a spus un lucru foarte interesant și a spus că sunt câteva state, cum e și California, unde este interzis să te duci la secția de votare cu un act de identitate. Ceea ce pentru noi este, adică și mie, eu n-am știut lucrul ăsta, deși eu am locuit în California o perioadă, n-am votat niciodată că nu m-a interesat politica, însă n-am știut acest lucru. Mi se pare, deci nu pot să înțeleg. Atunci, how they gonna identify themselves when they get to California to vote? What's the guarantee they don't go back in and out as
there is
many times as they
there
want?
is no
Or they
guarantee.
change different sections?
That's the problem. I mean, it's highly conducive and opportunative to cheat, and so it needs to change. Election reform should absolutely happen, but and that's why this election is so critical. So many people feel so strongly about it, and many believe that if Trump does not win, we'll be looking at a one-party system from here forward, particularly because they've literally shipped in, I think the number is 780,000 migrants.
Almost a million.
Yeah, in very short period of time.
They give them the right to
flew them into these swing states. And when you look at the swing states, I mean, those votes can be very close. I mean, 10, 20,000 votes.
That close.
And so if you got almost a million people coming in, you know, that are going to cheat, then you could have, you know, serious problems. So they're watching it very closly.
Întrebându-l de ce se tolerează acest sistem, încă se tolerează, dânsul mi-a spus că ei ar vrea să schimbe, Donald Trump a dorit să schimbe acest lucru, iar faptul că acest lucru se întâmplă, și se întâmplă atât de multe iregularități, una dintre ele este faptul că acești democrați au naturalizat peste 780.000 de migranți, aproape 1 milion, și pe care i-au naturalizat, naturalizând, însemnând dându-le cetățenie sau dreptul de votare, tocmai în acele state unde democrații erau mai slabi. Și având în vedere că aceste numere de oameni au venit în un număr masiv, au făcut cu oarecum o balanță, iar diferența este de câteva mii, poate 10.000 de voturi, ceea ce este foarte important în tot ansamblul votării. It's very difficult for me to comprehend why a country with a history of democracy like this, like your country, they will accept and they will accept this way of doing things, especially when it comes with the election. It's very difficult for me to understand, and for a lot of our viewers. I'm sure a lot of Europeans won't be happy doing this. You know, if we vote here, we have to make sure we have the ID. There are some irregularities here as well in Romania. What happened is, like, they take in the buses, you know, like major parties, they take in the buses, they go collect all the old ones, they take them to they facilitate, they said, because the old, we have to look after them. But once they put them in the bus,
harvesting.
Yes, exactly. Once they put them in the bus, those people, they feel somehow obliged to vote for them and going the easy way. But anyway, there's another problem. Yeah, you said it very well. you said it very well. If Kamala wins, you're hitting for one party government, states, leadership. But the problem is this: the narrative they do it is a socialist narrative. It's not there like she's a capitalist or anything like that. The problem is if she managed to pull this through, this election, and she, I don't think she will lose the next election, because usually if you're in power, it's more easy to keep another mandate than for the newcomers, because you got all the buttons, you got all the key people. Anyway, but the problem is we're heading towards a socialist society. If that's the case, if she wins, that's the way I see it. Am I right?
Yeah, no question about it. So, I mean, I think the bright side of Trump's campaign, anyway, is the polling that's out there. Now, granted, I mean, some of these polls are very close, but there's only one real outlier that shows Trump down, and I don't trust that poll because it falls.
What state is it?
That's in the state of Iowa, I believe.
Iowa.
And I don't believe that poll because it shows his numbers worse than 2016, and I think that's impossible. I think across the board, and it was the only poll that showed that, so it's an outlier. And the Republican early votes are historically higher than they've ever been. So there's definitely an energized voting base there. And Republicans typically show up at the polls on voting day. So,
nighttime, usually.
So if you see them showing up early, early voting, then you get a wave coming on election day itself, and so that's I think one of the reasons why they're very happy. When you look at some key early indicators, I think if New Hampshire flips for Trump, that's going to kind of potentially portend a landslide. If North Carolina flips, that's going to potentially portend a win, for Trump. If Pennsylvania flips, for sure, Trump will win. Well, those three states.
Let me translate. It's a long sentence, and it's not that I can't translate by forgetting. So I'm coming to an age that I can't remember things very well anyway, but it's a long sentence. Domnul, I was about to say Mr. Trump, domnul Donald, domnul Charles Douglas a spus că, din punctul lui de vedere, sunt câteva state care fac diferența. Este un stat acum, Idaho, care o arată pe Kamala ca și învingătoare, dar este foarte ciudat pentru că acolo a fost un stat în care întotdeauna republicanii au fost foarte puternici și ceva se întâmplă. Sunt câteva state, North Hampshire, cum este North Hampshire, am mai spus, what other states did you say? North Hampshire and what's the last two?
North Carolina.
North Carolina de Nord.
And
there was one more.
So New Hampshire would be the first. If New Hampshire flips, then you're looking at potential landslide, because that's a kind of a key indicator. If North Carolina flips for Trump, then you're probably looking at a win for him. If Pennsylvania flips for Trump, for sure he'll win.
Deci, soarta Donald Trump stă în câteva state. Acum dânsul a spus foarte bine, North Carolina, New Hampshire și Pennsylvania. Dacă acolo Donald Trump reușește să schimbe narativa și să aibă mai multe voturi, șansele sunt foarte mari ca Donald Trump să câștige. Yes, this is very good point you made there. So far, when the election is gonna end? When is the last? Because you got states everywhere. You got Hawaii.
Yeah.
You got North Alaska. You got some states where. When is it gonna finish? Where will be the last?
Yeah, that's
state?
a good question, and that's something that should be straightened out. I think. I think if Trump wins, he's going to do that. He's going to make sure we have fair elections. I think we'll probably move to paper ballots and a system where we can know the day, the night of the election.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. France switched to that system. It works very well.
Yeah.
And there's no reason, unless you like to cheat, to not do it that way. It's the fair system.
I don't know how a newcomer can win with a system like California, where anyone can go as many times as he wants, as many pull stations.
You need an ID to get on an airplane. You need an ID
everywhere,
to
go to the
beer.
bar, to have a beer.
Yeah, you need it. You needed an ID to get into the Democratic convention.
Oh, okay. But you don't need an ID when you go to the election poll in California.
Yeah.
Let me say that to our viewer. Deci, din punctul meu de vedere, am spus că e imposibil, mie nu vine să cred cum n-au schimbat acest sistem în care în California poți să mergi fără buletin în orice stat, în orice secție de votare, să te duci să votezi, după care să te duci în altă secție, să te duci să votezi și lucrul ăsta să fie legal. Având în vedere că în America oriunde mergi îți cere un ID. Dacă vrei să mergi într-un bar, ai nevoie de ID. Dacă vrei să mergi chiar la Convenția Democratică, ai nevoie de un ID, un document de identitate. It's very funny the way things go in States. You see, I never knew these things before. I'm sure our Romanian viewers, our Romanian people, they watch, they don't know about things. But I have to say that, I'm almost shocked. I'm speechless. How can a newcomer can win with a condition like this where people in power, they do whatever they want. They count the way. I don't know. How can they win? What chance does they have?
That's the concern is if, California, people are moving out of California in droves.
They do,
because of this situation. Now, the problem is if...
And also high taxes and everything.
And the problem is, they can move to other states like Texas, like Florida, Nevada, where, you don't have a state income tax and they're business-friendly environments. But the fear is if this administration continued, they would make the entire country like California. Now you can't move anywhere. You're stuck. And especially if it's a one-party system,
I cannot believe
one-party system, and
they also hit into a socialism.
The only thing I hope is that there's not obvious cheating like there was in the last election.
4 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, if there's obvious cheating in the election, that would be a very, very bad thing for the country, I think.
Hold your thoughts right there because I want to elaborate more on this. Domnul Douglas Anderson spune că situația din California, care este așa cum am prezentat-o mai devreme, dacă democrații câștigă, vor aplica în toată America. Adică asta înseamnă, gândiți-vă, asta înseamnă că nu va mai trebui ca nimeni care vine la vot să aibă un ID. Asta înseamnă că cei care sunt la guvernare, care numără voturile și care fac cărțile sau cum vreți să le numiți, ei vor fi perpetu, ei vor fi tot timpul la guvernare, pentru că nimeni nu va mai putea să-i învingă. Ceea ce, din punctul meu de vedere, vorbind, cunoscând, adică noi având impresia America, democrație, mă face să cred că ne îndreptăm către o politică doar focusată, condusă de o guvernare condusă de un singur guvern, tot restul vieții în care un candidat nou nu are nicio șansă și în afară de asta ne îndreptăm, asta e părerea mea și dânsul a susținut-o și este de acord cu ea, că ne îndreptăm spre o guvernare socialistă, de tip socialist, ne îndreptăm spre un comunism. Yeah. And what do you think? Let's say for the sake of the conversation, let's say they will cheat again because they've done it before. I don't see why they try to stop Trump with any cost. They try to accuse him of raping a woman 21 years ago. But actually it wasn't a rape because they come to agreement, somehow they managed to come to an agreement, but 21 years ago. So they took him to court. They accuse him of holding some documents in his Mar-a-Lago house in Florida. Mind you, all of them, Obama and the Biden, all of them take documents signed by them back home. All of them had the same thing, but they only accuse him. Then they try to somehow some people, they try to, I don't know if they connected or not, I can't say that because there's no proof, but someone, they try to kill Donald Trump, not once, maybe twice or 3 times, and they almost succeed. If it wasn't for him, the way I see it, God saved him, because there's no other explanation. How can you move ahead, I don't know, flash second, I don't know, you have to be a very, very lucky guy, you know.
Yeah.
But the way I see it is just God, I believe God saved him. So with all these things, yeah, they still, if they're willing to do this, I'm sure they will go for some cheating. I'm sure they will do it. I'm sure they will do it. And, you know, just imagine those soft computers they have, you know, those soft, you know, it's so easy. These days, we have that problem in Romania as well. 4, 5, 8 years ago, I can't remember, there was a president here, Mircea Joană. He competed against Băsescu. By the way, that was a leaky. What happened is this, yeah? The ambassador of the US in here sent some email to Joe Podesta in the States, back to Washington. In those emails, he said, there's 2 candidates in Romania. There's one of them called Traian Băsescu. This guy, if he wins, he will buy our F-16. He will buy everything we ask him to buy. The other one, Mircea Joană, if he wins, that one is a socialist. He will put money in, he's a socialist. He will share the money, you know, for low-income families. So they come to the conclusion Traian Băsescu have to win. And he won, anyway. But the problem is, Julian Assange, he gets hold of that email, and he published, the whole world knew that.
Good for him.
Good for him, yes. Anyway, they wanted to kill him. You know, they wanted to kill him. And what happened is this, yeah? The night before, once they start, the night of the election, they start counting. They count. By the time they end counting, they say, oh, Mircea Joană is the new president. So the guy starts celebrating. That was 8 years ago, I think. 8 years? I'll have to ask someone, but I can't remember, my memory is not very good. 8 years ago, so he celebrate. Then what happened is this. Then in the morning, they say no. The people who do the softs, they say no, it was a mistake. It was Traian Băsescu who won the election. Then when we start looking at the system, they say it's the same software they do in the States. The software comes from the States. So obvious, anyone who think, I mean, if this thing happened in Romania and this thing happened in Europe, I'm sure, and the things coming from the States, the software, I'm sure, you know, these things will happen. And it did happen. The way I see it, it happens in the last election with Donald Trump, when he, I think he won the election fairly and square, but somehow they managed. So what's stopping them to do that next?
They've got substantial legal army ready this time. Significantly more poll watchers, all those things. They uncovered 300,000 false votes, you know, in Pennsylvania the other day. And then Virginia was the Supreme Court allowed Virginia to clean its voter rolls. So you're taking off dead people and prisoners and things like that from the voter rolls.
So they clean up a bit.
So they're doing you know, quite a bit of that, and so hopefully, and like I said, right now the early vote looks very stronger than it's ever looked for Republicans. So
that's a good thing, you know.
And he has the momentum, but you know, it just comes down to probably those 5, 6 swing states to see if it, you know, the election can be secured.
When we came here, I've just heard Trump saying, if I lose and it's fair, I will have no problem.
Right.
He did say that.
Yeah.
Because they accused him already before even he said anything. They said, oh, Donald Trump. They told that narrative. Donald Trump is not going to be happy no matter who's winning. He announced that he's going to do something against. So therefore, the way I see it, the Democrats should handle this with very, very careful. If they want to do some mismatch things there, they should do it this time very, very professional, because otherwise, the way I see it, a lot of Americans will be happy, and like we were talking before, most of the Americans, they go guns, they go weapons, and this is it's not going to be right for America, you know?
Yeah, it would be a mess. If there is obvious cheating, You're right. You've got a heavily armed, country,
Yeah.
civilian population,
And most of them, maybe
if-
half, but more of them, they're against the system.
yeah, and if they know that it's been rigged and stolen,
They're not going to be happy.
that would not be a good thing. That would not be a good thing at all. And so, however the election comes out, I just hope it's fair. That's all. I hope it's fair.
Very good point, yeah. Well, let me translate as well to our Romanian viewer because we had a long sentence. L-am întrebat pe domnul Douglas Anderson dacă există posibilitatea să se fraudeze din nou alegerile, pentru că au o istorie în fraudat. Acum 4 ani de zile au fost fraude, s-au descoperit că au fost 300-400 de mii de voturi false în Pennsylvania, s-au descoperit multe nereguli. Am spus că și problema softurilor, care și la noi în România este o problemă reală. Ce s-a întâmplat, de exemplu, am explicat acum 10 ani, cred, când Traian Băsescu și Mircea Joană au fost în candidatură, în care Mircea Joană a ieșit seara pe post și a spus am câștigat alegerile după numărătoarea voturilor, iar dimineața domnul Traian Băsescu a spus eu sunt președintele în urma rezultatelor care au ieșit acum. Eu sunt președintele țării, însă noi românii, noi la sistemul electoral folosim aceleași softuri care le folosesc în America și de aici întrebarea mea legitimă este de ce aceste lucruri se întâmplă tocmai în America și ce fac ei, ce au făcut republicanii ca să preîntâmpine această situație. Domnul Anderson a spus foarte clar că s-au luat foarte multe măsuri, e o armată de avocați și oameni care sunt în domeniu pregătiți și urmăresc cu foarte mare, oameni cu multă credibilitate. În afară de asta s-au curățat, să zic așa, listele au ieșit, au scos toți oamenii care erau morți de pe liste, oamenii care erau în închisori de pe liste, oameni care erau cu semnul de întrebări de pe listele de votare, deci s-au făcut puțină curățenie. Problema pe care este în Statele Unite ale Americii este că o foarte mare parte a populației au arme, iar în situația în care votul lor pare că nu contează, votul lor sunt foarte multe nereguli la secțiile de votare și se dovedesc, acești oameni nu vor fi mulțumiți și vor ieși în stradă și vor face probabil ce au ei sau ce cred ei că e de făcut să preîntâmpine această situație. Mr. Douglas Charles Anderson. You come in Romania. You seems like you're enjoying Romania. You like Romania. You like the Romanian food. Do you like Romanian food?
Oh, Mici is one of my favorites.
Yeah, Mici. Yeah. L-am întrebat dacă îi place România și a zis că Mici îi plac cel mai mult. Do you like also those bratwurst called cârnații de...
I haven't run into anything I don't like, unfortunately. So.
Știu că îi plac cârnații de pleșcoi și l-am întrebat dacă îi plac acești cârnați în mod special și dânsul a spus că nu a găsit nimic care să nu-i placă. This is very...
And you wash it down with good wine too.
Și merge bine cu vin bun, avem vin bun în România. Romania, the next 5 years, our geographical position, location in Europe is close to, we have the Russians, we have the Ukrainians. Mind you, in 1990s, when I grew up, when I went to school, our neighbors were the USSR, Russia. There wasn't a country like Ukraine there. We didn't know Ukraine. It was Russia. Okay. So before, when I went to school, they tell us Americans are bad. Americans are bad, capitalists, the globalists, they kill us, they'll destroy us. That's they were telling us, the communists. Okay. Once the 90s come, they change it. They say, no, the Russians are bad, the Americans are good. Americans, they're good. These are the real deal. They do the McDonald's, the ketchup, the Hollywood bullshit. It's all bullshit anyway for our viewers, and I'm sure they agree with me. Hollywood, these days, to me, Hollywood, they the paradigm of the leftist wings. These are the people who prepare you for everything. You know, when you look at movies like Matrix, Terminator, everything Hollywood produced, they project you the future. You look at and it's dark. It's a dark future. They don't talk about families with children. They don't see that kind of movie with the they used to do before. What they do, they prepare us for the future, where intelligence artificial, where there is Terminator, the machines, the robots, everything, Matrix, and you have to wonder why they show you all these things. And you know, there's another thing they really know. But anyway, I'm not going to talk about that. I have to go back to the original question. Romania in the future, Romania in the future. The way I see it, we should have good relations with everyone. With the Russians, with the Ukrainians, with the Serbians, with the EC, with Americans, because also these are huge markets for us. We can sell products. We used to do this to Russians. We sell a lot of products to Russians. There was a huge market. Now we join EC, everything goes towards there, but we're not competing to them. You know, we become a country, we only sell, the, the grains. We don't sell the products. We sell grains for very cheap. Then when we go to buy things from Carrefour or any of big shops, they charge us for bread $2. But we sell them a kilo of grain.
You're just doing commodities.
Commodities, but for nothing. We're not making any and they stop us because we can't compete. We, our entrepreneur, we can't compete with the huge companies. We cannot. There's no way me with maybe 300,000-400,000 euros, do something with a couple of millions. When so slowly the small companies, they disappear. Mind you, in 1945, after the Second World War II, Marshall Plan, when the Germans, they received money from the Americans, what they did with that money, they invest in this middle class, in this Adidas, Puma, Mercedes, BMW, Volkswagen, everything you name it, all of them companies small, they put money there. So they become growth. They have, in Germany, if you look at the 1 to 100, we have maybe 10% very rich people, but maybe 80% middle class living well, and maybe 5-10% very poor. This is the statistic. In Romania, it's like 60-70% very poor, maybe 30% middle class, and we only got 10% very rich. So you come in here, you see the opportunities. What do you think will be a good advice for our politicians? What would you suggest to them? What line should they take? Should they be friendly with everyone around them? Friendly mean with respect, good relation, market relation based on business, on beneficial, or should they just keep this line the way we are now? We hitting towards Europe and America, but no relation with no one around us. And we have Turkey, we have Georgia, we have Russia, we have Ukraine. Actually, Ukraine is out of the picture because. What would you suggest to them? What line should they take?
I'm not one that buys into, Putin's a devil and everybody else is an angel. I don't think he's an angel, but I don't think he should be demonized. I think there were reasons that he was pushing back against NATO expansion, especially since James Baker, our Secretary of State, signed a treaty saying we would not expand in that country and went against that. And
that was
so,
in the 1990s, wasn't it?
Yeah, and my advice to any Romanian politician, not as up my position to make that statement, but I would say take Donald Trump's advice. Look
after your own interests.
Yeah, Romanians, Romanians first.
Very good.
And the only weakness I see with Romania, I think it's a strong emerging market, but they're part of the EU, and so where are decisions made?
Awesome.
A lot of times, that's where the decisions are, and I think you get held back sometimes, and that bothers me or concerns me. That I think it's important that Romania rise to its potential and not be held back.
Very well said. Let me translate a bit. L-am întrebat pe domnul Douglas Anderson ce ar sugera politicienilor români, având în vedere faptul că noi în România aici suntem focusați, toată politica noastră este către Bruxelles și America. Din punctul meu de vedere, eu aș vedea o relație de bună vecinătate cu toate țările din jurul nostru, pentru că este important ca și piețe de desfacere pentru noi, Rusia, pentru noi, Ucraina, țările astea din jurul nostru, Georgia, Turcia, dintotdeauna am colaborat cu ele. Noi nu putem acum să ne trimitem toată marfa noastră numai în Europa, unde nu suntem foarte productivi, unde nu trimitem foarte mult, noi exportăm exportăm foarte puțin și importăm foarte mult, ceea ce este un deficit bugetar, de avem și o economie disfuncțională. Și dânsul mi-a răspuns așa, dacă Donald Trump a spus-o foarte bine, puneți românii first, Romanians first. Asta ar trebui să fie lozinca politicienilor noștri și interesele noastre ale românilor să fie puse pe primul loc și nu pe ultimul loc. Yeah, very well said. Maybe you want to elaborate more on that.
Yeah, I think that well, I mean, the reason we're here is because we see Romania as a terrific
Potential.
emerging market, and I think if Trump comes in, he will shut down the war, and there'll be a rebuilding and a renaissance in this region, the likes of which we've never seen before, and that's why we're here. We're here to see if we can participate in some of that growth.
Very well said. Domnul Douglas a mai elaborat pe această temă. A spus că Donald Trump, dacă ajunge să câștige alegerile, a văzut deja potențialul în zona asta Europa de Est și tocmai de aici, mulți foarte dintre ei văd aici un potențial imens, un potențial de creștere economică al României și tocmai de aceea este important ca Donald Trump să câștige. But if Donald Trump doesn't win the election, the question is, are we gonna do the same thing we're doing now? Meaning, like, we're taking our orders from the Brussels politicians, they got their own agenda, their own interest, or should we just step out more? We should find our own leaders and we should try to impose our strategies and everything else.
Yeah, I think if Donald Trump does not win, you're going to see a lot more climate change agenda out of Brussels. You're going to see
Cashless society?
You know, oh yeah,
Is that a good thing?
I don't think it's a good thing.
Why not? They said cash is easy. You use your card. That's it. It's easy. Why do you think?
You know,
it's not?
I think because you know, you look at China where they're going with the scoring.
Yes.
They want to know exactly everything about you. You know, where are you
No more
spending your
freedom.
money? Who are you talking to? Who, you know, and all of these things
Control.
add up to certain scores that they, you know, decide. Okay,
This
who
is
are
your
the
life.
who
This
are
is
the
what you do.
who,
This is
who
what
are the
you
winners
handle.
going to be and who are the losers going to be? We're going to decide that. You know.
But
So
those people, they promote those ideas. I'm sure they know what you just said. I know. Why would they keep going? What is it behind?
you know, I think they think it's okay as long as they're the ones that
They
you
wanted
know,
the
are-
show.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah. They tell us, like your friend Bill Gates, your compatriot, what you call them, people from your country, Bill Gates, he's teaching us, he's telling us, and he's teaching us about sharing and everything. You know, share your house, share your home, share your car, share everything. You don't need land. You can live in 15-minute cities. But they themselves buying a lot of land. They buying cities. They buying.
Yeah, I've been to Bill Gates' house. It's beautiful. On
Oh,
Lake
there you go. So he's your friend.
Yeah, it's not small.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna translate and l-am întrebat de ce crede că se va întâmpla cu aceasta dacă Kamala câștigă și va spune că aceste lucruri pentru care militează se vor duce la un extrem. Și una dintre întrebări a fost cashless society, adică o societate fără cash. De ce oamenii ăștia tot împing acest lucru? De ce? Cu toții știm că e vorba de control aici, însă de ce ei vin și împing atât de tare? Pentru că știind că este în defavoarea noastră, dânsul a dat un exemplu China, unde totul este punctaj, fumezi o țigară, o arunci pe jos, te vede camera, te punctează, dai cu piciorul într-o pisică, a doua zi ai punctajul scăzut, mai spui câteva cuvinte greșite împotriva guvernului, te taxează și la un moment dat când te trezești că vrei să mergi undeva, nu poți, te trezești că vrei să cumperi o casă, domne, ai punctajul greșit. Mă rog, asta a spus-o dânsul. Însă ce a spus foarte important este că în timp ce ei ne propagă nouă această teorie cash society, cashless, adică o societate fără numerar, în care ni se spune că orașele de 15 minute să stăm, cum au făcut în China, zgârie norul la etajul 10, noi să stăm jos, iar în timpul ăsta ei beneficiază de toate, ei să conducă. E o anarhie controlată, în care Bill Gates Bill Gates cumpără pământ în toată lumea și cumpără la maxim ferme și asta, iar nouă ni se spune că noi nu avem nevoie, own nothing and you'll be happy. One of Bill Gates' friend, Klaus Schwab, he said, own nothing, you'll be happy. You know that, you're familiar with Davos and all this nonsense, the way I see it, but somehow, I don't know, all of them leaders, except Elon Musk, I don't know Donald Trump if he went there. They went to Davos. They went there.
So Trump went to Davos and he gave a speech and said, you know, we're not going to buy into this.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And that was a turning point for a lot of on the left to go crazy. You know, so
okay, this is interesting. I didn't know that.
You know, he was an anathema from there forward.
Domnul Douglas tocmai ne-a confirmat faptul că Donald Trump a fost la Davos, într-adevăr, și el s-a dus și a spus că el nu cumpără și nu acceptă lucrurile astea pe care le tot propagă acești coordonatori mondiali. Însă faptul ăsta a făcut ca toată presa sau toți de stânga, toți leftiștii de stânga, oamenii care cred în democrația asta, așa zisă, democrație între ghilimele, l-au blamat pe Donald Trump. Yes, what is important is he went there, and but most of other people, they were there, but they go along with these ideas. My question is, okay, putting aside the fact that they preach us on climate change when they coming with jets and airplanes there, you know, like polluting a lot of stuff, but they preaching us that we don't need big cars, we don't need even petrol cars, we don't need diesel cars, we don't need to eat too much, we don't even need to eat meat, we need to eat vegetables, because they tell us who to make love. We have to have certain view, you know, you can't make love, it's not good for you. There was a thing on Figaro. Figaro is a very major newspaper in France where they're advising people because of the too much wastage of water to be in the sink. Can you believe how mad these people are? Yeah. Can you believe how mad these people are? They are teaching us, they are telling us, they preaching us some rubbish, and themselves, they don't respect any of this. How would you feel? It's very difficult. What's happening with this election is very important for the whole humanity. I think even in Russia they're affected by this. Even the Chinese, they're affected by the results of this election. Everyone is affected. Yeah. So that's why it's very important.
I agree. I'm concerned. I want to see peace. I want to see this war end, both of them.
Yeah.
I want to see things cool down with China. Let's get back to business.
Exactly.
And I think that's you know, that's what's at stake here, and free speech, and
that's a voice of reasonability. That's the politicians should be thinking like this. But some of them they are, because imagine these two major conflicts, one in Europe, one in the Middle East. If Donald Trump were president, I don't think this thing will happen. Although I think he will manage.
Think that, yeah.
He will manage somehow to, and he said it himself, because that's why we want Donald Trump to win, because he said himself he can end this, and I'm sure he can end it. And, Ukraine.
You know, the top three issues that people are voting on are the economy, taxes, inflation, and the war. And Trump leads in all three of those categories by a country mile. And so I think it'll be shocking if he doesn't come out with a win, especially considering the early voting results and the enthusiasm that you see, you know, the momentum.
Yes, electricity. That I've seen so many people mobilize, so many Republicans, young ones, people they never voted before. They come out in major numbers to vote, which is huge.
The biggest podcast in the world, Joe Rogan's show. He's decided to.
Elon Musk. Yeah. Elon Musk. There are lots of them. There are good people. You know. And the way because I follow Joe his podcast, because I'm in sports and he used to do sports and everything. And if people like this, they never want to go into politics. If they come out, even Dana White, if people like this come out and speak, it's because there's a reason behind. It's because they think There's something.
And speaking about the team, I mean, the team Trump is putting together is very, very skilled.
Impressive, yes.
He's bringing in the top guy from Cantor Fitzgerald, one of the top hedge fund banks in New York, to lead the transition team. He's got Elon Musk. He's got Bobby Kennedy, which I think is fantastic.
That's another asset for him. Huge asset.
So, and women are paying particular attention to health and
Nutrition.
Their children, and Bobby Kennedy is all over that, and thank God for it, because I agree with him completely
100%.
that when I was a child, childhood obesity and
Douglas,
diabetes.
hold your thought, because it's very important.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back all the way to Kennedy assassination
Okay.
now, but this is gonna be my last question, because I know your time is limited. Let me translate a few minutes and then I'll. Este o discuție pe care este foarte greu să o traduc toată, pentru că este o întreagă frază, însă pot să vă spun câteva elemente cheie din ce a spus domnul Douglas. În primul rând, Donald Trump a strâns lângă el o echipă de oameni foarte puternici. L-a adus pe Elon Musk, unul dintre cei mai bogați, dacă nu chiar cel mai bogat om din America. L-a adus pe Joe Rogan, unul dintre cel mai mari influencer din America și din lume. A adus pe Dana White, care este președinte la UFC, este o sport. Oameni care, și foarte mulți alții, acești oameni nu s-ar fi implicat niciodată în politică dacă nu ar fi ceva atât de important, aceste alegeri pentru ei. Deci dacă alegerile nu ar fi fost important, oameni care nu s-au implicat niciodată în politică. Tocmai de aceea aceste alegeri sunt cruciale pentru noi toți, nu numai pentru americani, pentru că America este un lider în lume, unul dintre cei mai importanti, poate chiar cel mai important, iar Donald Trump a spus câteva lucruri importante. Deci, unul, va sfârși războiul Ucraina-Rusia, care pe noi ne afectează direct, pentru că e un război care ne afectează direct la granița noastră, economic, financiar, spiritual, moral, din toate puncte de vedere. Nu vreau să mai spun de migrația. Statul român suportă niște costuri foarte mari pentru acești migranți care vin din Ucraina. Lucrurile nu merg, noi nu producem, noi nu facem nimic, se tot motivează din cauza războiului. Sunt mult mai multe motive, însă războiul este un principala piedică a dezvoltării în momentul de față economiei românești. Însă Donald Trump a spus că va rezolva lucrurile astea foarte curând și foarte repede. Alături de el, Donald Trump l-a adus pe Bobby Kennedy, fostul nepot al președintelui Kennedy, cel care a fost asasinat la 1967. Care vorbește foarte important, a ridicat problema nutriției. Noi suntem acum la capitolul nutriție. Bobby Kennedy a spus clar că America, mâncarea pe care o mănâncă este o mâncare slab calitativă. Din contră, este plină de pesticide, este plină de chimicale. Și Bobby Kennedy vrea să facă, a zis Donald Trump că îl va lăsa să se ocupe de tot ce înseamnă nutriție. Ceea ce este foarte important, pentru că marea majoritatea bărbaților în general sunt interesați de sport, sunt interesați de Elon Musk, iar femeile sunt interesate de copii, ideologia LGBT care a spus că vrea să dispară din școli. Donald Trump a spus că primul lucru care îl va face, va scoate ideologia de gen din școlile și vor înceta să mai influențeze și să manipuleze copiii, ceea ce e foarte important, și nutriția la fel de importantă pentru femei și pentru noi toți. Și atunci el crede că acest segment de femei vor merge către Donald Trump. You said about nutrition, about Bobby Kennedy. So please elaborate more about Kennedy. Why is he so keen in nutrition? Is it because America they eat a lot junk food? Is it because there's problems with the food there?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you look at the grocery store shelves, they're filled with products that
sugary and
yeah, I mean, and his thesis is basically that big pharma and the food companies are collaborating to have a society that is constantly ill, because they make money that way.
Who's benefiting if population is? Who is it that?
Pharma, because if you have to be on diabetic medication the rest of your life, that's a lot of money.
Someone will make
That's
money.
a lot of money. Heart medication, all kinds of different medications that come from allergies.
Autistic. you know, you got a lot of kids. There
It's
was some
terrible.
statistics
It's
like
terrible.
1984, there was like 12 vaccines. You got one autistic child for every 1,000. 1982, you got like 13 or 14 vaccines, and you got like I can't remember 200 or 300 for 100,000. Now these days, for every 100,000 child, no, every 28 child, one of them is autistic.
Yeah.
Because and they got like 27 vaccines in the US. In Romania here we have I think 12. Even still, a lot of people they're reluctant to to vaccinate their kids anymore. You can't trust them anymore.
Yeah.
You can't trust them.
Yeah.
It's not just the COVID.
Yeah, it's concerning because if you erode that trust, then someday you might need to trust, you know, and it's, you know, we want that credibility to be there.
And also, before we close this show, I want to, let me translate. Let me translate, it's important. And then my last question to you will be this. Why Donald Trump, he refused to desecuritize all of them files? Kennedy, Malcolm, Luther Martin King. Why? Because he said he's going to do it now. But why was it? What's there that is so important? He cannot tell after 40, 50 people, almost all of them people involved, they've died. Why is so important they can't tell to the public? But hold your thoughts, I'm going to translate and then... Bobby Kennedy este nepotul președintelui Kennedy, fostului Kennedy care a fost asasinat și a înțeles cel mai bine această problemă nutrițională din America. Faptul că copiii americani sunt îndoctrinați, și asta completez eu puțin față de Douglas ce a spus, că eu am locuit în Anglia și am văzut că aceeași narrativă e și acolo. Adică ce se întâmplă? Îngrijitoare pe la grădinițe și prin școli, dacă văd copiii puțin mai veseli și sar prea mult și țopăie și le e lor mai greu să îi controleze, astăzi spune, dom'le, avem o problemă cu copilul, trebuie să-l ducem într-o comisie. În comisie, bineînțeles, îl pun pe niște tranquilizante, îi dau niște pastile care să facă mai calm, să se calmeze. Situația în America e mult mai grea față de Europa, ajung pe la 18 ani ca acei copii să fie toți dependenți și foarte mulți dintre ei dependenți de acele droguri, care să-i calmeze. Iar la un moment dat ei nu mai pot trăi fără acele droguri. Nu numai asta, nutriția din Marea Britanie, nutriția din America mai ales, este atât de plină de pesticide chimicale și zahăr, aproape toată e toxică. Au rata obezității cea mai mare din lume, au probleme mari cu sănătatea, probleme mari. Cine beneficiază din toate aceste probleme? Industria farma, industria sănătății, pentru că ei tot timpul au nevoie să le vândă pastile acestor copii și medicamente. Întrebarea mea către domnul Douglas a fost acum, de ce, e cu totul alt subiect, de ce Donald Trump a refuzat să desecretizeze asasinarea lui Kennedy? De ce a refuzat să desecretizeze în mandatul pe care l-a avut asasinarea lui Martin Luther King, care este promovării mișcării cetățenilor de culoare din America, și a spus că primul lucru îl va face acum. Dar de ce? Ce este atât de important? Ce s-a întâmplat? Cine l-a asasinat pe JFK Kennedy? Please, you have the floor is yours.
Yeah, so I think the good news is that, like you said, Trump has vowed to unlock the files and declassify a lot of these files, which
do you think is going to surprise you if whatever is going to come up? You think it's going to surprise you that much, or you have a like a small idea, hint?
Yeah, I won't be surprised if the CIA was involved in some of this stuff.
I didn't say it. You said it.
Dirty fingers, you know. So we'll see. I think another thing that could come out are the Jeffrey Epstein files, which I think
that's another
very interesting.
Epstein, Weinstein, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, all of them people from Hollywood, they do nasty things.
And so we'll see what happens there. And I think that's another reason why a lot of these people,
they don't want Trump to win.
Absolutely, you know,
because they're gonna expose them.
Yeah, if Bill Gates happened to be on that island, you know, and maybe, you know, he's got something to be concerned about. I don't know, but I was never invited to that party, so
good you didn't. Douglas, on this note, we're gonna end the show for today. I know you're a busy man. I don't want to keep you from doing your things. Thank you very much again for you coming to our show. It means a lot to us, or a lot to our Romanian viewer, because we got a glimpse from what actually happened Because what happened, mass media, they tell us different story. The mass media, they don't represent, they know real. But people like you coming saying things, the right things, the way you think, the way you see that is very important for us. So we have an idea was what happening in global issue with the global issues, and it's very important the way I see it for Donald Trump to win this election, end these wars, end this ideology, they want to destroy our kids. This cashless society should go. This idea should go. We need to have something. Imagine this: you go on a holiday, you go on a trip, you lost your wallet, your card get magnetized, no more working. You're in a Greece or somewhere. You can't send money Western Union. There's no cash. You can't call. You call them, but what they gonna do? You can't even get into the boat. What's wrong with these people?
You know,
How they want to put in this situation?
When I spend money in Romania, it's lei.
Yeah.
And when I look at that, it tells me where I'm at and who's in charge. And
Exactly.
I think that's the way it should be.
And also, there's another thing. You know, when you pay cash, yeah, it's like you feel the money when you give it away. When you pay on the card, you go just like that, yeah. Thank you very much for coming to us.
Thank you. I love the country. I'm very bullish about it, and we hope to see some great business here and growth.
Thank you. Vă mulțumim, însă asta dânsul a spus că este foarte mulțumit aici, îi place foarte mult în România. La fel gândește ca și la noi, adică lucrurile astea în care ni se spune că trebuie să trăim fără cash și care sunt niște nonsensuri, nu avem nevoie, noi avem nevoie de banii noștri, banii noștri sunt suveranitatea noastră, avem nevoie de independența noastră, de independență economică, financiară, politicienii noștri trebuie să înțeleagă că marea majoritate a românilor îi disprețuiesc pe acești politicieni care nu ne reprezintă. Marea majoritate a politicienilor sunt motivați financiari, sunt acolo să-și reprezinte interesele lor și ale grupurilor de interes. În această notă închid, în seara asta vă mulțumesc și ne vedem data viitoare.